The first Japanese immigrants came to Tomé-Açu in 1929. Despite facing hardships like malaria and poverty, they set to work cultivating black pepper. In the 1950s, the price of black pepper rose, and the grains became known as black diamonds. All the Nikkei farmers in Tomé-Açu devoted themselves exclusively to its cultivation. During the 1970s, however, plant diseases appeared and caused severe damage in the black pepper plantations. In despair, many farmers moved away from Tomé-Açu. They had realized the risks of monoculture. One prominent farmer decided to fight back. His name was Noboru Sakaguchi. On boat journeys along the local rivers, Mr. Sakaguchi noticed that the people who lived beside them enjoyed excellent health. Wondering how they achieved such a stable and contented lifestyle, he noticed that they planted a variety of different crop species around their homes. If one failed, others would make up the loss. That's how the people made sure they could always obtain what they needed. Polyculture, or growing several different species, is the ideal system for living in harmony with the nature of the Amazon. Impressed by what he had seen, Mr. Sakaguchi started planting a variety of useful species in his now disused black pepper fields. Mr. Sakaguchi's early experiments in agroforestry were continued and refined by his son, Mr. Francisco Wataru Sakaguchi, president of the Tomé-Açu Multipurpose Agricultural Cooperative, COMTA.
この辺が始まりなんですよね。こっち側が最初の畑。
This is the first field he planted 37 years ago. Now, around 80 crop species are cultivated on the Sakaguchi farm.
自然を見て自然から学びなさいと、ね、そういうところはかなり強く言っとったですよね。それは、ね、みんなの自分も心に残ってますよね。
Agroforestry, a system learned from nature here in the Amazon. The other local Nikkei farmers, who had been almost ruined by the black pepper diseases, gradually took up Mr. Sakaguchi's idea and, by trial and error, learned which crop species were best to plant. Based on polyculture, agroforestry has drawbacks as well as advantages. One particular problem for the farmers was shipping their produce to markets in the towns and cities. Harvesting by hand. Working on their own, farmers often found it difficult to produce enough to cover the costs of transportation. Furthermore, bumping around on the rough roads of the interior often resulted in fruit being bruised or going bad. It was also hard to store perishable crops until a sufficient quantity for shipping had been collected. Unlike the bulk production of monoculture, the smaller scale and more diversified production of polyculture was a major obstacle for agroforestry development.